Hello everyone, it's Sakuems here. So finally a new video. I'm really sorry, I'm really late. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll know that I was moving and it took me forever to make everything. And I moved all my stuff last weekend, and right now in my new flat it's all like in cardboard boxes, and it's just like And so it's gonna be an eye tutorial. A lot of people ask me to do how to draw an eye. There's a lot of YouTube tutorials, there's a lot of tutorials about how to draw an eye on YouTube, but it seems like the way I do it is interesting. I don't know. I suppose I have a mixture between it's like a realistic feature. For me, I like when the eye looks like a real eye. I'm not really that into very illustrative or very manga big eye. It's like the basic shape of a real eye, but I like to draw it bigger on my characters. I also like to draw slightly bigger head than what you will find in real life, because I like when people are really attracted by the eyes. I feel like the eyes are really important in my artwork, so that's why I enhance a little bit, and they are a little bit bigger and a little bit more defined that what you will find into a real face in real life. So this is a drawing tutorial for this $10 eye, I suppose, the main a human eye like this one right here, and I will do a tutorial just after. I just want to explain a few things first. So if you're on my Patreon page and if you support me on Patreon, you're actually gonna get, if you pledged at least $5, you also get two extra videos. I will put some sort of thumbnail somewhere on the screen so you can check this out. You'll get how to draw a creature, animal eye, and also how to draw a manga eye. So if you want to check them on my Patreon page, all you have to do is click on those thumbnails and pledge $5, and once you get charged, you will get access to those videos and all my previous $5 rewards. Also, speaking of Patreon, now I have a original raffle. So if you pledge at least $11 every month, you get one chance to win an exclusive original. So yeah, now you can click on the thumbnail. I will put the actual info for the 11 rewards. You get tons of things now. You get line arts, HD files, wallpapers. You also get, like I said, a chance to win an original artwork. There's also a second contest. If you pledge any amount, even $1, you get also one chance to win an original artwork, a bookmark, and a print of mine every month. And yeah, and so if you want to support my channel and get cool rewards at the same time, you can go on my Patreon page. It's very simple. You can cancel anytime, and you just need $1 a month, so that's really nothing. And if you want to pledge just for one time, you just pledge, and once you get charged, you can cancel anytime, so don't worry. Hope you will support me, and if you don't, it's okay. You can just watch my videos. That's also supportive. So back to the drawing tutorial. So what I wanted to explain to you a little bit about the eye shape. I suppose for me it's a little bit tricky to tell you how to draw an eye, because when I do it, I don't essentially think about the process. Okay, I have to do that line and think about it's almost like I'm used to doing it, so I don't really think about the lines. But if it's a tutorial, I have to kind of dissecate and explain to you every step to build the eye. And once you get used to it, you kind of want to break out from that very technical way of drawing it, so it looks more expressive and natural. But that will come over time. A lot of people, a lot of beginners, when I see how they draw eye, it's very stiff and it lacks. I think the only thing that they're missing, they know the basic shape. Everyone knows how an eye is made. There's just look at your own eye. You have the lashes, you have the teardrop, you have the iris, the lid, you have everything. You'll know how it's made because you have an eye, you have eyes, so you know that. But drawing it, I feel like having the expressive way and making it really, I suppose, smooth when you draw, that's when you really see this coming. And that's something you get with time, and a lot of artists, they learn to draw the basic shape, and once their style is developed, they can, you know, improve on that and get more expressive and change the shape and everything. If you don't want to hear me talk about how an eye is made, you can switch to the drawing part. I will put somewhere some sort of link, and you can skip ahead in this video just to see the drawing tutorial. But if you want to know a bit more about what I did here and a few tips about how you can make an eye look good, you can just keep on watching and I'll explain a few things. So this is my preparation for the how to draw eye. You can also spot a little manga Anna here. I don't know why. I was practicing the manga eye, so I might even do like a speed paint of this artwork. I really like how she looks here. I know I said I stopped fan art, but I actually really love Anna and Elsa, and there's a lot of characters that I really love. So I might still do a few, but we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I will just focus on like the characters that I really like. Anyway, back to the drawing eyes. So what I did right here, that's the basic eye. That's how I like to draw them. So it's not exactly accurate based on like what a real eye is. There's a little bit of, here is a little bit enhanced. This is not as deep, you know. The iris, is it the iris? Yeah, that's big part right here. This is way bigger than what you will look at. If you look at a real eye, it's almost like I have some sort of like giant circle lens. I like to draw them bigger, but you can do them any size if you want. And I suppose when you want to draw an eye, it's like a lemon shape in a way. I will explain to you the tutorial after, but there's like basically 3 things that you have to take care of. The first thing is, where is your character looking? If you draw something very weird, which is like right here, this eye isn't correct. You have to make sure that your iris, like this black dot, is always in the center. No matter where your eye looks, this whole thing is moving with it. If you move this black, what is it called? Sorry, the pupil? No, this is the pupil. Okay, now I'm using right words. The pupil and the iris, they are connected. You can't just move one thing. It looks weird. It looks correct here because the iris and the pupil are glued together. So when you move an eye to change the way the character is looking at, if it's looking to the right or to the left, it has to move together, you know. If you're looking really a bit down and like you look surprised or anything, it has to move together. The second thing to take care of is the eyeball, and I will also explain that to you in the tutorial. But people tend to forget that we have a crease. This is where your underbag is. This part is an eyeball. This is basically your eyeball, like the eye socket. This, if you touch your eye, you will see this like thing popping out of your eye. This is basically your eyeball that is underneath your skin, and you also have your crease on top right here. That's also your eyeball. You basically just picture like there's actually an eyeball right here, and it's covered with the lid that has this like flat lemon shape, I suppose. And this is like your basic guideline. When you draw an eye, I feel like it's important to remember that you actually have an eyeball behind it. And the last thing you have to take care of is the lashes, and I will explain to you how you can draw them. And if you know how a real eye is made, you will be able to change the shape easily and try a different style. So that's pretty much it for this, for just a few tips about the eyes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So now let's jump into the tutorial part.
So hello again, and this is the drawing part of this video. I found it quite hard to explain because I don't know all the terms for the eyes part. So bear with me, I'll try to explain, but if you don't understand every single thing, I'm really sorry, I'm just trying my best. So like I said, the eye shape is basically kind of like a flat lemon. I like to call this a lemon because you have the teardrop shape that is kind of like a little bit rounder, and then you have the other side of the eye that is pointier. And so when I draw an eye, I always start with this basic like lemon shape. You can change the shape if you want. You can do it like a little bit more flat or a bit longer or wider. You can make like a round eye. It's up to you guys. You can just like get the lines close together, or as long as you have as long as you have them connected with the teardrop and the other side of the eye, and you have your eye socket, like the eyeball, like the crease and the under crease, they have to be like in any kind of eye shape that you will make, and that's the only part that you have to take care of, I suppose. But besides that, you can literally have any shapes of eyes that you want. You can also have a crease that is a little bit closer to the lid or a little bit higher. You really change the shape of an eye and the features of a face if you do that. So that's up to you, but that's basically the basic like shape. Is this like lemon shape, and then you have the crease. And when I draw, especially when I'm sketching, I always have my pencil kind of like angled down to have this really smooth blending. I don't really do like any sharp lines. I'm trying to be almost horizontal to the paper, so I can have this really soft shading. Once you have your eyeball, like a crease placed, it's really easier to place all the shadows. Just think about the actual eyeball and just smooth out any lines. And I suppose it really depends on the actual like structure of the bones. And I can't really give like a lot more tips. You just have to look at the artwork, and this video on its own will like explain to you the process, because it's really just about knowing how it's made. Like I said, if you know how it's made, and you just should, like, if you check a lot of pictures, artworks, or even real pictures of eyes with different light source, you will see where the light is, where there's shadows, especially near the nose or under the crease, under the eyebrows. And you can also, that's really specific, but you can also check some like how to contour your eyebrows. Like actual makeup skills, makeup videos will explain a lot, because it's all about highlighting and contouring. And there's also some guidelines to create like the perfect eyebrows that could help you a lot when you create your artwork and the face, especially the eyes, because everything in the face is connected. And like the end of your eyes connected to the end of your nostrils. You really just you're gonna find so many guidelines. And just also, you can also try to search on YouTube like some like face proportions, and it's a combination of all the knowledge that you could find that will help you create an eye. So I want to talk a bit more about like mistakes that a lot of beginners are making when they are drawing eyes. I don't have any example, but I just have been I saw some like people making mistakes when they draw, and they want to go for a realistic look, but they forgot a few things. A lot of times there's no teardrop, and that little like blob of skin that you have in the teardrop, that really makes a difference if you draw it. The crease, that underbad that everyone's trying to color, it's there because it's actually your eyeball is coming from the lid, and you're gonna have to mark that with your shading. If you don't do it, that really just makes it that makes it fake and flat and not realistic. It depends on the look that you want to achieve, but if you're trying to achieve this realism, this realistic way of drawing an eye, you have to take care of that. The crease is very important. You can I used to avoid that. I wasn't drawing that crease, that fall that you have on your eyes, and it really makes the difference. The lashes are essential. A lot of people I see, they drew really like stiff, almost straight lashes, and they are all the same, kind of like flat on the eye. And I think a lot of people who are beginning to draw, they forgot that you're supposed to think in 3 dimensions, even if it's a flat drawing. It's a drawing, so it's flat, but you have to, your vision needs to be trained, I suppose, to think about how it would be if it was in 3 dimensions. That means the lashes, as you can see right now, I'm not trying to draw like sparse, like stiff, straight lashes coming straight from the lines. They are like very soft looking, and they're almost like growing out from the lid. Kind of like picture them coming from underneath the eye, and I suppose they are like fanning out, wrapping around the lid, going from the inner corner, from the outer corner of the eye. And they also work a lot into clumps, and you will see me doing that later on in the video, where I like enhance everything. But that's just the basic shape. When I draw, and like this is a very I put a lot of work into this. I usually don't work in black and white, but that's a great practice if you want to. And like I said, this is a how to draw, and I also how to shade in a way, because I feel like it's important to like work both aspects. If you want to know how to draw something, you'll know how to shade it, and they really just work together. So that's why I wanted this video to be a like a long process. This is real-time clip, by the way, what you're currently seeing, and I think it was very important for me to keep this as a real-time clip, even though it's really long, and because this is the only way for me to really explain to you how I do it, and this is the only way for you to really see how I do it. So I've used pencils. I've used a 2H pencil, 2B and 5B, and the way I see that is basically with the H pencil, the 2H, no, it's an H, sorry. With the H pencil, I just did the basic shading. And if you want to know how I choose where it's dark or light, you can check my how to shade in black and white tutorial. I will put a link somewhere. There's a lot of information about like light source, and it really helps a lot if you have time to really just like listen to everything. It's like an hour long, so that's really like a huge tutorial. And you will be able to know a few things, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what I can say much about how I draw an eye. Like I said, the few tips I wanted to give, that's basically it. That was the lemon shape, thinking about the lashes, kind of like wrapping around the eye. Also, one major thing that a lot of people tend to forget, the white of the eye is never white, because, well, unless you're on like a really bright spotlight, your whites in the eyes tend to have this like bluish or yellowish tint or pinkish tint. It really depends, because you have the veins, you have the like all your lids is casting a shadow, so it's never really white, and it really helps to know the bone structure, because that's how you're going to know where to shade and where it's going to be darker. For the pupil itself, it's very hard for me to explain. If you look closely at an actual pupil, like a close-up, you will see thousands of details. The texture of an eye, like the actual pupil, it's very complex. There is like, I don't know, it's like hundreds of shading, and the texture is very specific. So it's almost impossible to reproduce that. So you just have to focus about this, like the iris itself, and the texture is kind of like a spreading around, connected with the outer edge. And like I said, it's very complex to explain. I suppose it's kind of like a star, like almost like sun rays coming from the iris. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's very complex to explain, so like I can't give you much tip about it. and I feel like the video itself would explain the process, because like I said, I try to keep this as a very slow speed. The first portion where I'm speaking right now is actually real time. I will probably just speed up the rest of it, maybe had a few comments here and there, but I don't want this video to be like super long. But when you have this step done, like the basic shape, shading the eye is actually not that hard, because all you have to do is enhance everything and darkening some spots. It's okay if you do it too dark, because you're going to be able to bring back more light with an eraser, for example. I also use just like a tiny blending stump or any kind of tissue, which is what I'm using right now, just to smoothing out. If you're working in colors, that's essentially the same. All you have to do is gradually shade and try to do like layers and layers. But I feel like working black and white is a very great practice to learn shading and how to draw things. And I don't even like when I draw, I don't even think about actual arch lines or lines. I always feel like it's important to do some contouring rather than do a line art, for example. It's because anything you have in real life doesn't really have contour. They have like the shape as a limit, of course. The lashes, they have a shape, and I mean, like, it's a contour. It's hard to explain, you know what I mean? But it's not exactly like a line art. But when you draw, that's why I say the shading is really connected to the drawing part. Because I like everything to be really smooth, and you'll know your drawing is accurate when you have a mixture between smooth line and harsh lines. And this is always what I'm currently looking into my artwork, and it's a part of how to draw anything. But yeah, I'm rambling a lot about the process of making an artwork in general, but back to the eyes. What I'm currently doing is basically enhancing every lines that I've already made. So when you smooth out anything, if you want to add more details, that's when I switch to a 2B pencil, and I'm coming everywhere and I'm trying to add a bit more sharp lines just to enhance everything. And you saw me like do the lashes, and when I do that, it's really the motion is very important. It's basically coming from the roots and flicking it very fast, pressing harder on the roots part and lifting the pencil when I reach the other end of the lashes, and that's how you're going to have this spreading effect. And it's essentially the same that's happening with copic markers, for example. If you start from the same point and you have multiple lines coming from that point, every time you start on the same spot, it's going to be darker because you have more texture applied here, and it's going to spread and it's going to go lighter because you have all the other ends on a different spot. And that's how you're going to be able to see this gradual shading. Also, what I was going to say is texture is very important, to me at least. But if you want to go for this look, thinking about the skin and the bones and just adding more depth and an edginess to the drawing, I feel like creating texture is very important, and you can use the pencil to do that. You can also use a what is it called? A Tombow eraser. It's like a actual pencil form. You will see me use that in a few minutes. It's basically a very sharp eraser that allows me to bring more light and add a bit texture, add a bit of texture. And it's really helping a lot. For the eyebrow, what you have to do is don't even think about it being irregular. This is not like a perfect eyebrow done with makeup. This is hair, and they have a basic shape, and they tend to really just grow in like various directions sometimes. And I like to do them, I suppose, like a little bit thicker on the beginning, and then it just like spreads around, and it's like it's okay if it's a little bit random, you know. But back to the actual shading of the eyes, like I said, the whites of the eye, they are never really white, and I used to do them really white for a long time, and I always felt like it was kind of weird. It's because they really just, they have to be shaded like anything else, because your lid and your eyelid is on top of it. It is casting a shadow, and it really helps making it look realistic and three-dimensional when you shade that underneath the eyelid. I'm back to the pupil. Like I said, the texture of the pupil is really complex. You really can't draw all the details, so I'm just thinking about kind of like sun rays, like I said, and I'm starting to I'm starting a few, and I stop in the middle. Then I have some lines that are going from the pupil to the outer edge, switching between the two kind of lines, smoothing them out, adding some a bit darker, some a bit lighter, and that's how it really just like spreads all around it. Also, the actual highlights of the eye, I discovered this not a long time ago, but if you look closely on highlights in a mirror, for example, your lashes, they cast a shadow. They actually reflects into that gleam of your eye. Because the surface of the eyeball is very reflective, you actually will see your lashes, and it really makes a huge difference when you have the lashes shadows, like reflection, which what I did, into the eye gleam. That really makes everything look so much more realistic. So if you think about going for this look, even with a manga look or anything, like, it's really making a difference when you have this reflection. So just think about it. And it's almost done for this tutorial. I know it's kind of long, but like I said, it's very important for me to explain a lot of tips. So I hope that was interesting. And this is how I do an eye when it's very realistic. When I do this in colored, I tend to have a little bit less details, because I don't usually draw that size. It's quite big here. But when I do a smaller eye, the only thing that changes is that I don't have as many details into the texture. Like I said, there is not as many lashes, but it's essentially the same. And I also try to change the shape sometimes, but it's almost always the same, because this is how I do them. When you will find your style, you're gonna see that maybe you prefer having less lashes or thicker lashes. Maybe you like your eyebrows really thin or really thicker. You can also change the size of the pupil. I always have this almost giant circle lens effect that I really like. But yeah, now I'm switching to this eraser that I talked about, and this is going to help me bring a bit more light, because it's all really dark, so that will help making it look a bit more three-dimensional, like I said. And when I do that, I always think about basically how an eye is made, trying to bring more lights and almost think about the actual skin texture. And this is what I will do if I was doing a tone drawing of a character. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. I hope you'll find this interesting. If you have any questions, if you want me to do any kind of tutorials, please tell me below. A lot more are coming, and there's also a lot more coming on my Patreon page, especially for larger artworks that I won't be able to record. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in my next video next week. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.